Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to talk to you while it was all fresh in my mind. I just went out to meet with Minister Louis Farrakhan for a new series that the Nation of Islam is doing called Dinner with Farrakhan, and I think it's a great idea because in case you don't know, sitting down and having dinner with the minister is always interesting, very insightful. It's you get a personalized speech because he's got a way of delivering information that's very powerful, that's very influential, and very well thought out. He's a very smart man, a very strong man too. And so for me as a black man, I've always had an appreciation for the minister because, as I told him, first thing I told him when I saw him was I said, sitting down and talking to you, from the very first time we had a conversation, it makes me feel like I'm talking to my own grandfather. And when I left, I said, it was good seeing my grandfather again. It was nice to see you again. And a lot of that's because for a black man, really of any age, I'm not a young black man. I'm not an old black man. I'm just in the middle. If you're older than me, then I'm a young black man. If you're younger than me, then I'm an old black man. But it being the age that I am, growing up, when you look to older men to give you guidance, to give you advice, mentorship, but you don't find a lot of strong black men. Black men in America, unfortunately, are forced to be little boys for their whole life. You are pushed to keep your head down and your voice low, even in situations that call for you to hold your head high and use your voice. And I think that that is to significant detriment to our community because we don't really nurture and create real men in the black community. And it's getting even worse because we've now been convinced by some of these crazy liberals that fathers don't matter anymore. And so you have a lot of boys growing up that are incredibly hyper feminized at a very early age. And I'm not talking about just being gay or not being gay. I'm just talking about men who are just scared to stand up, men who are scared to take on responsibility, men who are scared to protect and defend the people that they love, no matter what. And it's not healthy for any of us. It's not going to get us to where we want to get to. That's why I refuse to get caught up in the whole liberal conservative ideological divide because I don't think liberals or conservatives have really done good for black folks. But at the same time, I don't think liberals or conservatives have always done bad things for black folks. There are some things I hear conservatives say where I agree with them about the importance of building your own and self sufficiency and focusing on that. There's some things liberals talk about when it comes to social policy. In police brutality, yes, the police should not have the right to come in your community and beat the hell out of you and then go home to dinner and act like nothing happened. We know we can all agree that that's a problem. So I'm not saying I abandon everything that a liberal or a conservative has to say, but you're not going to get me lined up like one of your little black political sheep and get me to follow your agenda in lockstep. Because me and my people, my family, that comes first and foremost. Your agenda, your battle with other white folks, that's between you and them. Anyway, long story short, I want to hop into a little bit of what me and the minister talked about. I should address the elephant in the middle of the room right away, and we did. I mean, the minute I saw him, I walked up to him. I was at his house probably about, gosh, I think we were there. I think I got there about 6 and left like 10:30. So I was there 4.5 hours, and I knew it would be a long visit. And so I went up to him when I first got there, and I was happy to see him. I didn't pretend like I was happy. I was very happy because I have so much respect for him. I gave him a big hug. He gave me a hug and even kissed me on the cheek. Just so you know, I don't really kiss dudes on the cheek. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not me. But I appreciated that affection, that show of affection. And he was just very warm. I mean, he just came up and we hit. I mean, it wasn't like we beat around the bush and eventually got around to the whole Yvette Carnell thing. He went right to it. And he just kind of said, we had the controversy this week, but I'm so glad that you're here. And then we talked about that. And here's what he said. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit in terms of what the minister said. I hope I don't say it wrong, but basically the bottom line was he did not say one negative word about Yvette Carnell, not one. And in fact, he actually said that he encourages her to use her voice. He says that she was speaking passionately and from the heart. He respects that. He also said that it's important to express disagreement because that forces you to defend your argument. Those are the three things that he said when it came to Yvette, and I let him know, from the beginning. I said, look, I love Yvette Carnell. I've worked with her for 5 years. I said I'm gonna block for her forever, even if I don't agree. And but there was no need to block. It wasn't as if he came with any sort of ill will or any sort of um, negative energy at all. Everything was basically to tell Yvette that I love her. That was another thing that he said, and he wants her to speak her mind. And I think that's really important because I think that in our community we don't have enough space for female voices to be outspoken. I support the voices of black women, even when they don't agree. That's why I took the feminist thing so personal when I was attacked for writing an article telling black men not to sleep around because many black men get falsely accused of rape. And I said, you think that you're getting all, you're the man because you're getting all these women, but there are guys who get drunk and have sex, and next thing you know, they're being accused of rape. It happens all the time, and I was attacked for saying that. I guess because that was not politically correct. That's why I don't get into the liberal conservative nonsense because there was nothing wrong with what I said, and I think that it hurt me because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't understand where where someone would come and try to say that I'm sexist for standing up for black men, but that's kind of where we've been as a community for a long time. Black men have been the cockroaches of our society because America does not respect black men, but black men don't respect black men. And when you have black men that are able to attain some status, some wealth, whatever, athletes, entertainers, etc., they are so hypnotized and indoctrinated into a self-destructive white supremacist line of thinking that they effectively abandon their community because they want to go work for the winning team. So you'll hear black men run around here, speaking up more for feminism and gay rights than they will for other black men. You'll have athletes and entertainers that want to chase liquor and women and go run to the strip club and all this other stuff, but they don't want to do anything to build any schools or build any businesses in their community. You have entertainers on TV who will align themselves to support Paula Dean before they'll go and actually do anything truly progressive for the African American community. And I just think that that's nonsense. I think it's crazy. I think it's a reflection of severe mental illness amongst people of color. I think that we are psychologically occupied. We are an occupied community, and so and once again, I want to make this point clear too. Just because I said I don't kiss guys on the cheek, I don't have a problem with the fact that the minister did kiss me on the cheek. I appreciate that. I felt like that was a great act of affection. So I just want to make sure that's clear. But but moving on, I mean, the dinner was great. I wish everybody could have been there. In fact, when they put it online, I encourage you to watch it, and you'll get a chance to hear some of what he said. Another thing that he brought up during the dinner that I thought was extraordinary was he talked about police in black communities. And what's interesting is that, and this is a very simple point, but a true point, you'll see lots of white cops occupying black communities, but you almost never see an all black police force occupying a white community. And so one of the things that he said that I agree with is that we need to start having black officers in black communities. Stop sending all them white cops to our communities because they don't respect us, they don't know us, they don't care about us, they want to kill our babies. They will murder your child and then go home and have dinner and then think something's wrong with you because you want to defend yourself. No, no, and this is where real manhood comes into play. It's up to us as men and women as well. I mean, we know women are empowered, but I think there's something that women look to men to provide. They look for us to provide strength and protection. And that comes, economically. It might come physically. It might come psychologically, or whatever. That's why women tend to be attracted, on average, they tend to be attracted to men who have various forms of strength, whether it's tall, strong, very powerful, very rich, very intelligent. Those are all signs of strength. And I think that for black men, because we end up bowing to white supremacy so much, we end up deflating our strength so we can bow to an oppressor. We end up chopping off our own testicles so we can make a white man feel comfortable. We end up basically killing off a part of who we are so we can try to become somebody else. And so one of the reasons that I really push so hard in entrepreneurship and stuff like that, we created the Black Wealth Boot Camp. We're building the Black Wealth Academy. We're doing all kinds of things that have to do with black economic independence because one of the most critical steps to our independence as a community is to let go of our dependence on white money in order to survive. White money should not be necessary for black survival. We could create our own economies. We have 1.1 trillion dollars or more, depending on the study you look at, worth of spending power. We should spend with each other. Two things we have to control, at least two things. We have to learn how to make our own money. We have to educate our own children. Doesn't mean you homeschool your child, but if you send your child to that school every day, you bring them home and you educate them on your own. You make sure you're responsible for teaching them the things they need to know to be an empowered black person in this country. It's not a white man's job to educate a black child to be a strong black person. The best they can do, the best the white man can usually do, is teach your black child to be another white man. That's those are two things, and then also the policing issue, in terms of violence and things like that. The reason that the police are such a poison in the black community is because in many cases the police are the biggest street gang in the entire community. The police come in, they instigate, they cause the gangs to fight each other, they cause homicides to occur, and then they sit back and act like they had nothing to do with it. They just show up to make all the arrests, taking fathers out of the homes, therefore destabilizing the black family. So really, it's interesting because you'll hear white conservatives complain about the code of silence in the black community, the whole don't snitch rule or stop snitching or whatever rule in the black community. But that's nothing compared to the code of silence that exists within the government and within the police department. There's a huge code of silence. I mean, cops almost never get indicted or ratted out by other cops when they go and they commit cold-blooded murder. If you remember back in Charleston, when that brother got shot in the back, there was a black police officer who sat there and watched the white guy plant the gun on him. And so the thing about it is that as people want to criticize us and talk and say, why are you people doing this and doing that wrong or whatever, you got to look at most of these toxins that affect the black community, everything from the educational system, the economic system, to the music that promotes black mass homicide, genocide. All that's created by white people, all that's created by whites. I mean, the music industry is controlled mostly by whites, by a lot of Jews. They don't give a damn about your child. They'll let a rapper call your child a nigga all day and glorify blowing his brains out, but they would never do that for their own children. A lot of these jobs that used to be in black communities are now gone because we believed the white man's ice was colder. We destabilized our own institutions so we could go integrate with white folks, and then they left us high and dry. The educational system is falling apart. Most inner city schools are garbage. They don't get the money that they deserve to have. They probably never will. I think there are people that are talking about good political solutions. I was on the air today with Dr. Steve Perry and Jeff Johnson, two guys that I really respect, who had some great ideas about political mechanisms that can lead to more equitable education. I think that's fine, but until the government decides to do the right thing or until white people stop being racist, I'm going to take the responsibility for educating as many of my people as I possibly can. So when you've got your children in your house, remember you can be responsible for a large percentage of what goes in their brain. You are their only hope when it comes to getting a good education. You've got everything you need. You can give your child a PhD on the freaking internet. All the information that you ever needed when it comes to educating anybody is right there on the web, on YouTube, on Google. The reason we created the Black Wealth Boot Camp, for example, is because I said, you know what, I can give people for $300, I can give them an education that's better than that $30,000 degree that they got at some school with professors that never even run a business. I run a business. I can tell you how to make money. I can tell you how I make money. I can tell you all about finance because I have a PhD in it, and I can bring other PhDs. I can bring other business owners, and we can become your faculty. And not only are we faculty, but we're a family for you. We love you. We care about your well-being. A lot of these universities do not. They care about your money. So, long story short, my point here, and this is where I'm going to end on this, is just summarizing the dinner with Farrakhan. It was it was extraordinary, but I kind of expect that. I've had dinner with the minister, I think 3 times. One time it was just lunch, but 2 times. Wait a minute, scratch that. I've had dinner with him twice, and one time it wasn't. We didn't eat. We actually just sat and talked for a few hours. And every time I sit down and talk to him, I learn something. I hear things that make sense to me, that resonate with me. That they might resonate with me because I'm a black man, because I have a certain view on the world, because I'm big on black independence. In every form, educational, economic, most specifically, the Nation of Islam actually is it's one of the best organizations in the entire black community because they are one of the few places where they don't sort of tell, like for example in entrepreneurship, you have a lot of black folks that'll say, quit working in corporate America so you can start a business and get money from the government. Well, you're still bowing, now you're bowing to an even worse master in some ways. You're just going to beg for money from the government instead of finding another way to make your money direct from consumers. The Nation of Islam is extraordinary because they have models that are amazing, independent, very progressive. Their technology is amazing. They're one of the few places I've seen online that have been able to build solid online online platforms without getting help from white people. See, a lot of these big black websites that you see, black news websites. Most of them are either owned by white people. The Grio's owned by whites for a long, or NBC. I don't know if they're still owned by NBC, but they were owned by NBC for a long time. The Roots now owned by Univision. They were once owned by the Washington Post. Black Voices is owned by AOL. So most black people don't know how to survive without white money. The Nation of Islam does survive without begging white people for money. That's very, very powerful, very, very important. Also, they tend to run things in a way that is that reeks of a type of dignity that you don't see for black people who are stuck in corporate or stuck in various systems designed by white folks. We tend to we're afraid of white people. Like if I go to a group of black people and I just say, you know how these white people treat us, or or if I go on a job and say this job is racist, a lot of black people will get scared because they're afraid of what white people are going to think. They don't care about whether it's right, whether what I said was right or wrong. They only care about the fact that there's a huge amount of fear that we have when it comes to white folks. Whereas in the nation, I see a type of dignity and pride and self-respect that really comes with really having had an opportunity to embrace your entire humanity, to really have had a chance to really know that you're a human being just like everybody else. You're brilliant like everybody else. You can build just like everybody else. Many of us don't know how to build. We don't want to know how to build. We don't think we can build. We have a huge self-esteem problem because unfortunately many of us have been looking for white people to give us permission to be free. Let's be clear. White man ain't never gonna sign no permission slip to tell your black ass that you can be free. That ain't gonna happen. It ain't coming. So that's all I just really want to say. I hope that I didn't talk too long, but I just wanted to kind of do a quick. I literally just walked back from the minister's house and I was a little tired, but I felt compelled to share this with everyone because I could say it was a very good experience, and hopefully Yvette Carnell will know that the minister is not angry with her. He's not trying to plot, how he's gonna get his revenge or anything like that. I don't know what Yvette's gonna say. I haven't talked to her yet, but I'm gonna give her a call. But either way, that's it. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. I'm gonna go to sleep. Peace.